Hello CraftDee family, and welcome to another tutorial by She's So CraftDee. For today's DIY projects, we'll be creating some really sweet holiday and Christmas home decor from Dollar Tree and other inexpensive supplies. Now to get you all started, I have included the full supply list with the links in the description box. Now to all of my amazing subscribers and visitors, I wanted to say hey, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you definitely should, so you can be the first to see hundreds of fresh and original craft ideas on my channel. So let's jump in and get started. Now this project is a holiday tree truck sign. We're going to need one of these 12-inch wood rounds from the Dollar Tree and one of these holiday placemats from the Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to start off working on the placemat. Go ahead and grab your sign. Now you want to be able to center your sign on the top of the placemat. So I'm going ahead and removing the hang tags and then tracing that outline of the sign in the center of the placemat. Now once that's done, you can go ahead and take a pair of scissors and cut it out really carefully, just trying to get it as round as possible on both sides. So here's our sign all nice and cut out. Now we will be adhering this to the board, and to avoid any interference, I'm going ahead and removing the sticker label on the back of the sign. So we're going to adhere it onto the wood sign. Now no worries about the gaps at the top and bottom. You won't see them in the final project. So to adhere it, I am just going around with my wood hot glue, and I'm going in about 5 or 6 inch sections all the way around until it's totally adhered. Now I'm going to be adding some beading trim to the end. Now I got this beading from Family Dollar for $5, or you can use loose beads, or they have bead strands at the Dollar Tree in shorter lengths. It's all up to you. Now I'm going to start adding this around my little sign. Now I'm going to add it just a few inches at a time because I do want to make sure this is as round as possible. Now when you add your beads around the sign, you definitely want to make sure that there is no spacing or gaps in between the beads as you add them. So go ahead and just take your time, be very careful, and make sure that they're nice and evenly spread around your sign. So now we're approaching the end of the sign and we have a little ways to go. So I'm just going to add that tail in there and remove any beads that you need to go ahead and join up to the very end. Now there are some strands left at the ends of those beads, so I'm just going to go ahead and give a double knot tie to that location, and this just adds a little bit of extra security for those beads on your sign. And here is what it looks like with the beads. So now I'm going to be decorating the piece, and I'm going to be using some of these pine picks. Now I picked up these pine picks from Amazon, but they do have another version at the Dollar Tree that have a frosted snow look, and some have glitter. But I'm going to use these from the Amazon because they are darker in color. I'll go ahead and link those in the description box below. So I'm going ahead and using 4 of these in my project, and I'm using 2 on each side, stacking them, and then adding one opposite of the other on this top of the sign. So once it looks pretty good and it's the way you want to, you can go ahead and grab a zip tie. I got these zip ties from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go ahead and zip tie in the center loosely at first because you want to leave it loose just in case you need to make any more adjustments before your final fitting. So I am placing it back on top of the sign, just kind of eyeballing it and seeing all the pine is going the way I want it to. And then if it looks good, go ahead and tighten that zip tie down in the middle, and then arrange all of your pine picks. Now once you do secure it, the metal ends of those pine pieces will be sticking out, so we're going to go ahead and remove those metal spikes at the end of those pine pieces on the back and on the front and get those out of the way. And now that we have our final little arrangement there, I'm just going to go ahead and clip off the end of the zip tie. So now what we're going to do is we are going to adhere our pine piece to the top center of our sign. So I'm putting a double layer of this wood hot glue across the top and then pressing that pine piece right on top of it and holding it there until it's nice and bonded. Now once it's bonded, I'm going to grab this cluster of pine cones and berries that I got from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to cut 2 pieces of the pine cones, making sure they have that metal stem still attached to them. And I'm also going to grab some of the berry clusters from the bunch as well. We're going to use those as an accent in our cluster at the top. Now to put the pine in, since it does still have that metal piece on the end, it's easily to slide this in and nestle it in right under that zip tied area, so you really don't even have to use hot glue for this. I just slid them in underneath that zip tie section. Now once we get our 2 pine cones there, we're going to add our berry accent. So I'm just going to put that right in between the 2 pine cones. You can situate it however you like for your design. I'm just going to situate it there. I'm going to trim off the tail of those berries and just add the smallest bit of hot glue there just to keep it nestled in place. And so here is what the decoration at the top will look like. Now, if you want your sign to hang, it's easy to apply a hanger. I just have some of this burlap ribbon that I had on hand. You can use any kind of ribbon or jute twine that you like. I'm just going to wrap the ribbon around to form a little loop as shown here. And then when I hot glue the ends, I kind of situate it and figure out where I want it on the back of my sign. So I did want it at the top center. So I'm adding a generous amount of hot glue to the bottom and a little bit up the sides just to make sure this has the maximum amount of adhesion to the back of my wood sign. So I'm going to carefully place it right in the center, and then I'm just going to use the assistance of one of my little spatulas that I had, and then go ahead and just pat it down and hold it and make sure that that's adhered to the back of the sign. Now to make sure that it is nice and clean, I love to just cover up the ends of all of my pieces and cover up the raw ends to keep it from unraveling. So what I'm going to do is take a piece of this thick craft paper, and I'm going to place it right at the bottom of that little loop on the back of my sign. It just makes it nice, clean, and professional in the very end. And here it is ready to display. Okay, you guys, here is the sweet and simple sign for the holidays. How adorable is this? Now, I knew that I had to showcase this placemat when I saw it at the Dollar Tree, and this is a perfect way to decorate it. Now, I really love all of the beautiful festive colors in this piece. Now, I really do hope that you all give this really easy project a try. Now, this project is a pair of wood bead candle stands. So we're going to need 2 of these metal candle stands from the Dollar Tree. Now, we're going to take those stands, remove those stickers at the top, and give them a good clean, and then take them out and give them a couple of coats of white flat spray paint. Now here they are after I had a chance to dry. Such a total transformation. These stands are not the best of condition at the Dollar Tree, but paint does do them good. So I'm taking some of this beaded strand that I got from the Family Dollar, and I'm using some of it to trim out my stands. So I'm going to start at the bottom. So this was my initial idea, was to trim out the bottom with the beads. So start at the back at that seam, because you won't see it at the front of your project. So you start there and just add your beads around a couple of inches at a time. Now, as you add all of your beads around, what you want to do is just press the bottom of that stand on a flat surface, because you want to make sure that when you add the beads that they are sitting evenly along the bottom of your stand. So using a flat table or surface, as you add the beads and kind of patting them in place, just make sure that everything will turn out nice and even on your project. Now, once you do this all the way around, here is what it looks like. And if your beads don't exactly meet up in the back, no worries. You won't even see that in your project because it'll be turned to the back. And now you can do this for your second stand. And here are both all nice and covered. Now, after looking at it, I decided to go ahead and add the beaded strand right under the candle holder at the top as well for an additional accent. So I'm going to add that to both of those the same way I did for the bottom. And here's what it looks like with both the top and the bottom trimmed out with those beautiful wood beads. So the next thing I'm going to add are some of these ornaments. Now, I picked up this 4-pack of little red and black check ornament trees from the Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to take 2 of those out. I'm removing them all just to kind of figure out which 2 I want to use, but I'm only going to use 2 to decorate my candle stands. Now I'm going to remove that hang tag from the tree, but I wanted to kind of situate it on the candle stand body. So I'm going to end up placing them right underneath the top and kind of hanging from there. Now you can hot glue these in place if you want to only use these for the holidays, but I wanted them removable, so I'm putting the removable tape on the back, and that's what I have holding my trees in place. So I'm also going to add some of this red and black check ribbon that I picked up from Dollar General for $1. They also have this print at Dollar Tree if you're looking for it. I'm going to trim out the bottom right above those beads. So I'm going to cut a strand where it will overlap the other end of the ribbon at least a ½ inch, and then glue that end on top of the other. You don't want to glue it to the stand. Glue the ribbon pieces together just in case you decide to remove them. And we're going to do this for both of our candle stands. And here they are, you guys. So adorable. Now when you decorate these, it's super simple. You can add whatever you want. I have these red berry candle rings that I had on hand and also some candles, but you could use whatever you love. And oh my goodness, you guys, here they are looking oh so fancy. Now there are lots of ways that you can top these, and I chose to use LED candles and the mini wreaths from the Dollar Tree. I think that they go great with that red and black buffalo check theme. Now in addition to the wood beads and removable trees, these take a really good upgrade to the cheap candle holders at the Dollar Tree. You guys have to let me know, have you given these a makeover too? Now this project is a wood beaded frame decor piece. Now we're going to need one of these red and black check gift bags from the Dollar Tree. And we're also going to need 4 of these 5-gallon wood stir sticks. Now I got these from Walmart for 94 cents. You can get them at Home Depot also for $1.48. We're also going to need some strand or loose beads of your choice to trim it out. And we're also going to need some foam board from the Dollar Tree. Now we're going to start off working on our gift bag, and we're going to trim out the design. So I'm starting on the side seam just to cut it all the way down, and I want to go about 1 inch past the actual design, following the lines of the buffalo check pattern. This helps me keep the design all nice and even. Now for that top portion, I'm going to trim it out right at the level where it overlaps on the back. So I'm just kind of snipping it at the front where I want to cut it, and when I flip it over, it's even with that back overlap. So that's a good guide to trim out the top of your bag. And now you have this cutout design that you are ready to work with and frame. So now what we're going to do is grab your foam board, and we're going to place our cutout right on top, making sure there's about maybe 1/4 inch frame around it. So I'm going to take my pencil and add 1/4 inch to the inside corners as well as shown here. And that way your board will be bigger than your sign and your frame will have something to adhere to. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere my little sign piece to my foam board, and I'm just using a standard glue stick. This is just a regular school glue stick. I like using glue sticks because they don't wrinkle up any kind of paperwork. You could use Mod Podge, but just be careful because of the wrinkling. I find that the glue stick works great. There's no wrinkling or buckling in any kind of paper designs that I apply, so this is my go-to. And now I'm just going to take my utility blade and cut out the frame along the lines that we drew earlier. And now you have a beautifully framed decor piece. So I took 2 of those paint stir sticks. I cut 2 to 12 inches. And then I took the other 2 and I cut them at 14 3/4 inch. Now I have the two longer pieces here on the side, and what I'm going to do is sandwich in those 12-inch pieces between them, and this will form the perfect frame for your decor piece. So I'm just going to start adhering these together. Now I'm going to start with using the wood hot glue. Now this is only going to give me my temporary hold that I'm looking for until I permanently secure these, but this is a good way to hold it in place while you work with the project. So I am gluing those two ends together and then closing it in with that last 14 3/4 inch piece, and here is my completed frame. So now I'm taking my staple gun with my short staples in it, and I'm applying 2 staples at the seam at each corner. This just gives it just enough reinforcement to keep it all together, and this is just an easy way to bond those corners. Okay, so once that's done, I'm doing a fit check and everything looks good. So now we're going to take more of that beading. I got these from Family Dollar, but you can use any beading that you love. I'm going to run this bead strand down the center of each side. Now I'm using one of my little clippies here just to kind of mark the end of the beads for that first time I apply it. This is just a marker, and this is just to help me. So I'm taking some wood hot glue and I'm running it right down the center of that wood piece and sitting that first bead strand in place. Now press it into that wood hot glue, and you could even use your ruler to kind of help keep that bead strand as straight as possible, and this is what I did to mine to try to help it look really straight and even. So I'm going to remove my clippy, and I'm just going to keep working my way around the frame right down the center all the way around until we have our strand all adhered in place. So now that that glue has dried, we are going to paint our piece. Now I'm going to be using some white acrylic glue. You could use any glue that you like. Now I chose acrylic glue because I didn't want a really opaque coverage. I'm kind of just brushing this loosely onto the wood because I did want some of that wood to kind of shine through, but I'm just hitting all those little spots, working my way around the beads and around the frame, just getting it that nice rustic finish that doesn't look completely covered. Now here's my frame. It's all nice and painted. Now once that dries, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with some of this melted chocolate color acrylic paint. This is what I'm going to dry brush onto mainly the bead portion. So I'm adding some paint to my brush and then getting most of that paint off the brush, and I'm just going to swipe it all along those beads. Now there's no rhyme or reason to this. I'm just adding it really randomly along the beads, and if you get too heavy-handed at some point, you could go back over it with the white paint and then blend it in as you like. So after it has sat to dry, here is my frame, and I'm going to sit it right back on top, and it looks perfect. Now to adhere these, you could use Velcro squares in the corners if you want this to be removable, but I wanted this to be a permanent holiday decor piece, so I'm adding a generous amount of hot glue into each corner and then carefully sitting that frame on top. Don't drop the frame down on it until you have it perfect. Trust me, you only want to do this once. So you just press that in place at each one of those corners, and once it's bonded, flip it over. We are going to reinforce those corners a little bit. Since this will be a permanent fixture, I'm going to add 1 staple into each one of the corners. And here's our beautifully framed sign. Now I did want to add some holiday accents. I'm adding more of these green picks that I got from Amazon. I'm going to kind of cross them in the corner as shown here, like an L shape, and trim off all of the excess stem. Now I love these corner accents. I just think they give most frames and decor pieces just a little bit of an upgrade. And so I cut one down. I'm going to add one to one corner, and then right on top of it, I'm adding that other cut piece to form that little L shape. Now I am using my wood hot glue on this too as well. I'm pressing it firmly in there, and this will hold it tightly in place. Now I did grab another bundle of those pine cones and berries. If you have loose ones, you could use those too, but we're going to use one of the pine cones and some of the berries in each corner as an accent. So I took one of the pine cones and I trimmed little wire stem down and also made sure the back of the pine cone is as flat as possible. Now I added a generous amount of that wood hot glue right there in the corner and just press it down into the corner. And then once that's bonded, I cut a couple pieces of these little berries, and I'm just going to hot glue one on either side of that little pine cone just to make a little corner accent. It's really cute. Now once that one is done, just repeat this for the top opposite corner of your sign. And here are both of the corners, all really cute with their holiday accent. Now, if you want this to be a hanging piece, it's really simple. I'm going to take a doubled piece of jute twine that has knots on each end, and I'm just going to hot glue each end on the back of my sign, stretching it as tight as possible. And then, of course, going in with those squares of craft paper with hot glue right on those end pieces and press that down. It gives it a little bit more reinforcement and also just finishes off the project so it looks really professional. And now this is all in place. It's ready to go. This is a lightweight project, so this will hold it with no problems. And here you have it, a gorgeous frame decor piece for the holidays. Now I really just love this frame. I love how it turned out, and it does not look like a dollar store item at all. Now you guys, all of these DIYs were really fun to create today, and I hope that I've inspired you to get creative as well. Now I really do love each one of these, but you definitely have to let me know in the comments which one of these projects was your absolute favorite today. Listen, if you love DIYs on a budget, please give this video a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Make sure that you're following She's So Crafty EE on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest for the latest news, sneak peeks, and giveaways. Now, if you like videos like these and don't want to miss the next one, click on that subscribe button below or just click on my She's So Crafty logo on your screen and hit that bell to be notified when the next DIY goes live. It doesn't cost a thing. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.